Today, we're diving into Genesis 21. And let me tell you, it's a story that starts with a miracle decades in the making. But what's so fascinating is that this incredible moment of joy also comes with a steep price, leading to a family torn apart, a desperate struggle for survival, and then another promise nobody saw coming.
And that really gets to the heart of it all. What happens when the one thing you've been waiting for your whole life finally shows up, but instead of solving everything, it just creates a whole new kind of chaos? It's all about those messy, unexpected consequences that can follow even our greatest blessings.
So, let's set the scene. Our story kicks off at this moment of pure, unbelievable joy. For Abraham and Sarah, this promise must have felt like a distant, impossible dream for so long. And now, against all odds, it's actually come true. I mean, you can just feel the relief and the shared disbelief in Sarah's words, can't you? This isn't just everyday happiness. This is that deep, soul-shaking laughter that only comes when you witness something you were sure was impossible. She has waited her entire life for this.
And just to put this whole miracle into perspective, Abraham was 100 years old when his son was born. 100. The text really hammers this point home for a reason. It wants us to understand just how absolutely extraordinary, how off-the-charts impossible this birth really was.
In fact, this joy is so central to the whole event that they bake it right into their son's name. They name him Isaac, which literally means he laughs. So his very existence becomes this constant, living reminder of the laughter God brought them in their old age.
But, this perfect moment of pure joy, it's incredibly fragile. And in what feels like a blink of an eye, that laughter just vanishes. A deep-seated tension that's been simmering under the surface for years, finally and violently boils over.
So picture this. They're having this big party to celebrate Isaac. And in the middle of it all, Sarah looks over and sees Ishmael, that's Abraham's other son, mocking Isaac. Now, was it just kids being kids, or was it something meaner? We don't really know, but for Sarah, it was the absolute last straw. It lit a fire under all her fears about her son's future.
And right here, the core of the conflict is laid bare. You've got Isaac, the son of the promise, the heir, and then you have Ishmael, Abraham's firstborn son. In Sarah's mind, there's just no room for both of them. She sees this as a zero-sum game, and only one of them can win the family's future.
And wow, her reaction is just swift and brutal. There's no negotiation here, no let's talk about it. Her demand is absolute. This is a mother in full-on protection mode, and she is ready to shatter her family to secure what she believes is her son's rightful place.
You can imagine this just wrecks Abraham. I mean, Ishmael is his son too. But then God steps in and tells him to listen to Sarah. And this is crucial. God doesn't just abandon Ishmael. He makes a direct promise to Abraham that Ishmael will be okay, that he too will become the father of a great nation.
So, the decision is made. And what follows is honestly one of the most heartbreaking sequences in the entire story. A mother and her son are literally thrown out with next to nothing. Think about this for a second. Abraham gives Hagar and his own son just a little bit of bread and one skin of water and sends them into the wilderness. The text says they wandered aimlessly, and that word just perfectly captures their total desperation and vulnerability.
And this is rock bottom. The water runs out. Hagar puts her son under a bush and walks away because she literally cannot bear to watch him die. It is the raw, agonizing cry of a mother who has absolutely no hope left.
But right when it seems like all hope is completely lost, the story takes this incredible dramatic turn. Right there in the middle of all that suffering, there's another divine intervention.
And then we get this one, simple line that just changes everything. But God heard the boy crying. It's not Hagar's sobbing that gets the attention, it's the cry of her son. Even in their darkest moment, they are not forgotten. Okay, so here's how the rescue goes down. First, an angel calls out from heaven, telling Hagar not to be afraid. Then, that promise that was made to Abraham is now made directly to her, that her son, Ishmael, will become a great nation. And then the miracle. God opens her eyes, and suddenly she sees a well of water, the very thing they needed to live.
So, while Hagar and Ishmael are out finding their future in the wilderness, the camera kind of pans back to Abraham. And he's working on securing his own legacy. But this time, it's not through divine promises, but through some very savvy earthly diplomacy.
all of a sudden, this powerful local king named Abimelech shows up. And he comes to Abraham and basically says, look, I can see that God is with you in everything you do. I want to be your ally, not your enemy. This is a huge deal. It shows just how much Abraham's status and power have grown.
So instead of fighting, they handle this like true diplomats. First, Abraham brings up a practical problem he has about a well that was taken from him. Then, they make it official with a treaty. And finally, Abraham does something really clever. He sets aside 7 lambs as public, sworn proof that the well is his. It's an undeniable physical testimony. And this very act is what gives the place its name, Beersheba, which literally translates to Well of the Oath. So the name itself becomes this permanent landmark, a lasting record of the agreement they made right there, forever connecting that piece of land to a promise and a pact.
So, when you step back, what a chapter. It starts with miraculous laughter, goes through a gut-wrenching family breakdown, a desperate fight for life, a divine rescue, and it ends with a political treaty. It just makes you wonder, doesn't it? How do these ancient themes of inheritance, of being cast out, of promises kept against all odds, how do they continue to play out and shape our own world today?